Bitter criticism night. Brought to you by Russia Today. Yeah, Russia Today sponsor us. Sponsor us, but we are just we are not responsible for any means by anything. We are just training our English, so we don't really we don't have responsibilities in life. Well, winter is coming here in Chile, but it's not so cold yet to wear wool stuff. Just wait a second. Well, I still have a lot of news from yesterday from Russia Today and CGTN, and I will choose randomly like this right here. Wait a minute, just 1 second. Just 2 seconds. 3, 4, 5, and this news is from Russia Today, I guess. Fyodor Lukyanov, China's She is right. China's She is right. The world is currently undergoing. The world is currently undergoing changes not seen for a century. Who is Fyodor Lukyanov? No, Fyodor Lukyanov. Yeah, this is an analyst, kind of. It's time to buckle up because the World War II and Cold War systems no longer suit the global order, by Fyodor Lukyanov, the editor-in-chief of Russia in Global Affairs, chairman of the Presidium of the Council of Foreign and Defense Policy, and research director of the Valdai International Discussion Club. We have a Xi Jinping picture, and we have a lot of noise from gas motor, the internal combustion motors, which is a hell. Chinese President Xi Jinping. So humanity has been gripped by a frenzy, by the political and military crisis in Europe has captured everyone's attention. But in global terms, it's only part of a large picture. The tensions over Ukraine and even the wider conflict concerning post-Cold War European security are elements, but not the core reasons behind a major shift. When Chinese President Xi Jinping parted company with Russian President Vladimir Putin last week, it was no coincidence that he remarked that the changes now taking place are the biggest in a century. 100 years ago, the old world was fast disappearing. Empires were crumbling, the structure of societies was changing, and all ideologies were being radicalized in an attempt to meet people's needs or point them in the right direction. Two Cold Wars, a global economic crisis, the resurgence of all sorts of local conflicts and social experiments that were generally very costly for the people were all signs of the very changes that the Chinese leader was recalling. No one wants to go through that again. Still, there is hope that certain constraints have emerged in the recent decades that will prevent extremes, from nuclear weapons to the ability to respond more flexibly to socioeconomic upheavals. In recent days, the news has seemed to confirm the seriousness of the tensions. Germany saw its biggest strikes for decades, with transport workers protesting against worsening conditions. France is on fire after the government decided to raise the retirement age by passing a parliamentary vote as the reform failed to win a majority. In Israel, a violent confrontation has erupted over the cabinet's attention to curb the powers of the judiciary, which its opponents see as a coup attempt. It is clear that each of these events has its own circumstances and that there is no direct link between them. That they have in common is that they are all manifestations of a painful socio-political transformation. Andrei Sushentsov, the people who brought you the Iraq war, loudly support arming Ukraine. Where will this lead? The second half of the 20th century and the beginning of the 21st have been very comfortable times for the world as a whole, in terms of overall geopolitical arrangement. We saw first a rather strong balance based on bipolar confrontation, then a relatively stable hegemony. But there has also been progress in the social and economic senses. Many positive changes took place after the Second World War. The welfare state model spread across most of Europe and even the United States, with its more modest tradition in this sphere, made great strides. Similar changes also took place on the other side of the Iron Curtain, with a focus on improving living standards and consumer diversity added to the traditional priorities of defense. In the third world, as colonial possessions were disappearing, there was an enthusiasm for freedom and a belief in the future, even if many of the new states carried little heft. The end of the Cold War brought with it new expectations. The free world enjoyed a peace dividend, reduced military spending, and the opportunity to extend its economic expansion into previously closed areas. The former socialist countries took advantage of the opening up in every way they could, and at least for individuals, there were more opportunities than before. This was often to the detriment of state capacity, but it was believed that this was a general trend. The individual was more important. Eventually, the former Third World tried to take advantage of both. Many countries in Asia, for example, have benefited greatly from globalization. Meanwhile, a lot of people from states which have underachieved even choosing to move to wealthier locations. Timofey Borshev, why the West stand off with Russia and China is big opportunity for the world's second tier powers. Both periods has some things in common, a widespread feeling that tomorrow will be better than yesterday. However, now, just like that, it's over. At present, it's commonplace to accuse political elites of unprofessionalism and bad governance without making excuses for individual politicians. The current generation, which grew up these very favorable conditions, has had to deal with shifts of a tectonic nature. The exhaustion of the previous financial model of the capitalist economy, the communications revolution, one of the main results of which is the mental divide between the mature and the youth and the young, technological change with inevitable consequence for the labor market, an aging population in the developed countries, and a rejuvenation in previously troubled state is creating a completely different international environment. Moreover, the interconnectedness of the planet does not allow anyone to isolate themselves from the general instability, which spills over national borders in various forms. Moreover, as was the case a century ago, the growth of socio-political activism among the masses is leading to the radicalization of political groups, and with traditional parties and ideologies in deep crisis, radicalization can take quite archaic forms. We will take our cue from Xi, who sees the changes taking place as a sign of necessary renewal, and we will manage the cost somehow. I guess it was not a clear article. Well, it's pretty hard to be clear about to be eloquent. This guy, I don't know. He say radicalism, but and China is also the China policy is not clear neither. Radicalization take quite archaic forms. Well, I was listening the audiobook from Thomas Piketty, and he says that the communist experience was so bad and people don't want that. But I think I guess communism will win. The chances for that are improving because of, I don't know, because of news, because of YouTube, because of technology. People will discover humanities, social sciences, and they will, I don't know, they will criticize the problems of communism, and they will, I don't know, they will do it better, you know. All the problems in Germany, France, etc. They will think twice about the problems, and they will solve the problems of communism, I guess. I don't know. I hope so. Now I'm gonna read some CGTN news. Another analysis. U.S. policies. U.S. politicizes COVID-19 origins, lack evidence. This will be really a news for whom don't know nothing about China, but China has this narrative, this theory. It's not a theory. It's just there are some people don't like the word narrative, but it's like an hypothesis, you know, hypothesis, narrative. Well, China says that the COVID-19 could be a U.S. bioweapon. I will just read this. The U.S. has been conducting a highly politicized debate about the origins of the coronavirus pandemic and attempted to revive the lab leak theory, which was deemed extremely unlikely after the investigation led by World Health Organization experts in 2021. The U.S. House of Representatives Committee held the first in a series of public hearings on March 8, focusing on exploring how the pandemic started. The hearing itself offered a heavy dose of political theater, according to an article published in Nature website. The debate was refueled last month when the Wall Street Journal first reported that the U.S. Energy Department had concluded the pandemic likely arose from a Chinese laboratory leak. The department on the site previously made its judgment with low confidence in a classified intelligence report, the article said. The evidence behind this change is unclear. According to the article, it mentioned that FBI Director Christopher Wray also told Fox News that his agency has for some time thought the coronavirus accidentally escaped from a Chinese lab, but he did not reveal any evidence. Meanwhile, the U.S. National Intelligence Council and 4 other U.S. agencies still judged that COVID-19 was likely the result of natural transmission, while 2 are undecided. As unscientific hearing at the House Select Subcommittee on the Coronavirus Pandemic hearing, the Republicans invited 3 witnesses who supported the lab leak theory. The Democrats invited 1 witness, who is a clinical director at Johns Hopkins School of Medicine. The Republicans focused on accusation that Anthony Fauci, former chief medical advisor to President Joe Biden, suppressed the lab leak theory early in the pandemic. Fauci has previously said the evidence suggests the virus most likely originated in nature, but that all theories should be investigated. The Democrats questioned the credibility of witnesses from the Republican side who authored a much criticized book. The book discussed the biological basis of race and has been hailed by white supremacists. Just an awkward comment. Race from racism is the same word for race to racing, isn't it? It's the same word. Like train, choo-choo train, and train of basketball. It's the same word. I don't know why. According to Nature, thanks the internal combustion motor. According to Nature, Michael Worobey, an evolutionary biologist at the University of Arizona, said he found the processings shockingly unscientific. Not one of those witnesses had any scientific record of investigating and publishing peer-reviewed research on the origins of this virus in quality journals, he said. Another internal combustion car, too noisy. A matter of science, China has consistently refuted the lab leak theory and called on the US to stop politicizing, weaponizing, and instrumentalizing COVID origins tracing, said Mao Ning at a press briefing in March. It has let a matter of science be dominated by lawmakers and the intelligence community and spread myths such as the lab leak theory without any evidence to discredit and attack China. Mao said China has supported and participated in global science-based origins tracing Since day one, the political manipulation by the US is the main stumbling block to the science-based research on COVID origins, she said. In addition, she urged the US to also share the data of suspected early cases in the country and disclose information about its biolabs at Fort Detrick. I thought the CGTN would talk more about Fort Detrick, but they just said that. Well, I just reading 3 news right now from China, and they are very polite, you know. They are very quiet from accusations. I like it. I guess they are a better civilization, because in the Western media, as everybody knows, is too passionate, isn't it? It's too. There's so many accusations. I will read one more from COVID-19 from CGTN. ¿Qué pasó, Milu? Milu is too Western, isn't it? She's always crying. Oh, what do you want, Milu? I will take you to China. China consistently participated in COVID-19 origins tracing. Foreign Ministry. You see me, look? Look. Feel me, look. And here we have, I guess, the foreign ministry, Chinese foreign ministry spokesperson Mao Ning is a woman, I guess. At the press, Mao, but her name is Mao, and she's a woman. Interesting, isn't it? Mao Ning at a press briefing in Beijing, China, March 31, 2023. This was 5 days ago. Chinese Ministry of Foreign Affairs. China has supported and participated in global science-based COVID origins tracing since day one, and has been firmly opposed to all forms of political manipulation. Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson Mao Ning said at a press briefing on Friday. Mao reiterated China's efforts in origins tracing, noting that the country had twice received World Health Organization (WHO) experts for research during COVID-19 to share the findings. China also recommended experts to join WHO's Scientific Advisory Group for the Origins of Novel Pathogens (SAGO). Furthermore, Chinese scientists shared additional data through early samples of COVID-19 cases with the rest of the world. China has shared more data and research findings than any other country and made the most contribution to the origin study, Mao said. She emphasized the importance of paying equal attention to the clues for tracing origins and mentioned that the unknown pneumonia cases that occurred in the US in 2019 and the closure of the US biolab at Fort Detrick have not been investigated, despite the fact that the questions are being raised. The US has not yet responded to the WHO request for data sharing, Mao said. The spokesperson called for the WHO to keep a science-based, objective, and impartial position and not let politicization get in the way. She urged the US to stop politicizing on the issue and share data of its suspected early cases in 2019 to give people of the world the truth they deserve. I guess the COVID-19 is definitely a U.S. bioweapon, like, I don't know, the World Trade Center attack from Osama bin Laden was also a totally, uh, I don't know, a false terrorist attack. This was all a strategy to, I don't know, a strategy to steal oil from Iraq. You know, the U.S. controls the media, and people, I don't know, people don't even care, isn't it? People from the western part of the world, they just want to I don't know, they just want to have fun and don't want to know the truth. They want to think about themselves as free people, but they are not. I will read another news from CGT and then one from Russia Today. And says, China opens advanced nuclear research reactor to worldwide scientists, CGTN. I'm liking CGTN. Is like, they don't say the name of the journalist, I guess. We will see. But they are very straightforward, isn't it? I don't know. The China Advanced Research Reactor CAR at the site of the China's Institute of Atomic Energy (CI) under the China National Nuclear Corporation (CNNC) in Beijing, China. But I think they don't tell the journalists. Yeah, we don't know who is writing, but see, this is like this is our. It's not a defect. It's just I guess it's a kind of a tradition from China. I don't know. This was probably written by a Chinese journalist, but the Chinese journalist is just making his job. It's not like a freelance. I don't know. And maybe it was written by ChatGPT. The China Advanced Research Reactor CAR, a 12 years old sophisticated and versatile light water tank type unit with heavy water reflector, is welcoming global scientists and worldwide cooperation, according to the China National Nuclear Corporation (CNNC). So far, the institute has received over 40 international applications for CAR projects, covering aerospace materials, petroleum, and other cutting-edge industries. Since its inception in 2010, the CARR has been open to some 50 domestic research institutes and universities in a limited manner. Its neutron flux, a key technical indicator, ranks first in Asia and third worldwide. Unlikely reactors in nuclear power plants, which are used for generating electricity, the reactor at the CARR plant generated neutrons for the purpose of scientific research. The purpose of the reactor is to serve the country's major needs and solve problems in China's nuclear, aerospace, aviation, energy, and transportation industries. Shen Dongfeng, chief expert of the CNNC, told China media group CMG. Hao Liyie, a research fellow of the China Institute of Atomic Energy (CI) under the CNNC, said The neutrons can pass through metal materials and detect internal defects in all kinds of thick materials, which are difficult for other radiation rays to achieve so. A physics hall inside the China Advanced Research Reactor CARR. This is a photograph. Well, this is at the site of the China Institute of Atomic Energy (CIA), under the China National Nuclear Corporation (CNNC) in Beijing, China. Upgraded safe research reactor, the CARR reactor, located at the site of CIA in Beijing's Fengshan district, has demonstrated China's development in nuclear science and neutrons experiment. In 2022, the CNNC has upgraded the reactor to meet the growing demands and better serve future clients. Scientists they are now working on research of aero engine blades, examination of high-speed rail wheels, and even ancient artifacts from the Western Han Dynasty, 2002 BC AD. Its radiation exposure is relatively low, as the radiation detector at CI site marks only 0.51 microsieverts. To put in simple, the amount of radiation absorbed by a scientist working at the CIA site for 1,400 days, or about 3.8 years, is about the same from a CT scan. Concerning its operation time, Xu Xionggang, secretary of the Party Committee of the China Institute of Atomic Energy, told CMG that our goals this year is to keep the reactor opening for over 100 days, and we still strive to increase the operating time to 250 days in 2024. We also welcome international friends to do scientific research at our platform and jointly forge some few frontiers. Well, this is a very serious journal, isn't it? There's no, show, isn't it? Like, even Russia Today is like too Western, they trying to make a show from news. They make politics, they mix politics and journalism. China to strengthen basic research diversity funding. I guess I will read one from Russia Today just to see the difference. You will see right now. We're gonna read a lot of Western fights and wars and so on. Yeah, I guess I prefer Chinese journalism because it's real journalism. And this is the CGTN is like a newsletter from the government, and this Russia Today, they try to seduce. Well, I will choose will try to choose a serious question, a serious news. Well, it's pretty hard, but I will try this. Burkina Faso expels French journalists, correspondents working for Liberation and Le Monde arrived in France on Sunday after being given 24 hours to leave. From Burkina Faso, Well, this is obviously politics because Russia have ties with Africa, or the French policy in Africa is really is still very imperialist. As even I told I guess three times ago, that there are a recent video on Caspian Report. The Caspian Report is I don't know, is a heavily Western channel. Caspian Report is like a newsletter from the US. Even so, they made a video criticizing French imperialism, and that is all here too. So it's like France is not maybe France is not paying the mensality for why Caspian Report did a video against France. France is a pretty Western country. Anyway, Burkina Faso's military government has expelled 2 French reporters working for the Le Monde and Liberation newspapers. The move comes a week after the country banned the the France 24 TV channel. Liberation's correspondents Agnes Favre and Le Monde's Sophie Douce were both expelled on April 1 after being summoned separately for questioning the military authorities on Friday. They were given 24 hours to leave Burkina Faso. In a statement published on its website Sunday, Liberation claimed the expulsion of the journalist was confirmation that the freedom of the press in Burkina Faso is seriously threatened. Well, France is even worse than Burkina Faso, isn't it? France is worse for everybody, I guess. I don't know. According to the newspaper, the expulsion follows a March 27 story that showed a video of children and adolescents allegedly being accused in military barracks by at least one soldier. Although the government of the African state has yet to explain these dismissals, Liberation claims that the story obviously greatly displeased the ruling junta. The Burkina government, which had not reacted before publication when Liberation had asked for it, had spoken of manipulations for political purposes and of a desire of discredit the army. The outlet noted. Former colony bans French state TV. Well, it's too little, too late. No, it's right, I guess. Well, at least Russia Today is doing some support for Burkina Faso. Isn't it? The paper protested that what is called unjustified expulsions, and said the 2 journalists were of ideal integrity and had worked in Burkina Faso legally with legitimate visas and accreditations. Relations between Paris and Ouagadougou, that's the capital, Ouagadougou, have weakened remarkably since Burkina Faso's military seized power in a coup in October last year. I guess this coup is good for Burkina Faso and bad for French. In March, the Burkinabé Foreign Ministry scrapped 1961 agreement on military assistance with France, which has been in force since Paris granted the Sahel country its independence. It has since ordered the withdrawal of the French ambassador and troops, as well as the suspension of broadcasts by television channel France 24 on March 27 and Burkina Faso France International in December. Both French news networks have been accused of false reporting and giving a platform to jihadist groups. Le Monde director Jérôme Fenoglio said the expulsions mark a new major setback in the freedom to inform the situation in Burkina Faso. He urged the government to reverse the decisions as quickly as possible and to immediately restore the conditions for independent information in the country. See, Russia is a pretty Western country because they just fight. Journalists for them is fighting. It's all about fight, and I guess that is the official channel for Russia, isn't it? I guess it is Russia Today. They are Sputnik too, but anyway, we're gonna read the last news from CGTN, which I don't know what means. China National TN. I don't know what. So we are reading right now. I will read this last one from the China newsletter. China newsletter. China to strength-based research diversity funding. China to strengthen CGTM and no journalist. That could be better, isn't it? If they say the name of the journalist, but who knows what is not like that, isn't it? They are communists. They don't have identity. I guess they are fine. These journalists, I guess they are fine. Plan is being nursed at a second generation seeding plant in East China's Xinjiang province, February 22, 2023. CFP. I don't know if the CFP is the name of the journalist, but I guess not. China vows to strengthen basic science research through diverse funding sources in the process of building the country a leading role in science and technology, officials said at the press conference on Friday. We have made a 10-year plan in basic research that aims at increasing investment from the government side, but we will also diversify funding sources by encouraging other entities in the society to join the move, such as enterprises, local government, and donations, said Minister Wang Shigang from the Ministry of Science and Technology, MOST. The name is MOST. Ministry, I don't know why. MOST. The ministry's affirmation came after a study session of the Political Bureau of the 20th Communist Party of China CPC Central Committee that focused on boosting basic research. Xi Jinping, General Secretary of the CPC Central Committee, who shared the meeting, stressed the country's efforts towards self-reliance in science and technology. China has spent 195.1 billion yuan in 2022 alone on basic research, a 50% increase on average every year since 2012, according to the MOST. That means we are putting a lot more for basic research, said Wang. I don't know why nobody likes China, because I don't know. You know, live in Western, in the global South or in Western, they are just like the last article was saying. Is so decadent. What people like is, I don't know, asking for food. That's life in Western civilization, in West, asking for food by cell phone. That's I don't know. That's the biggest achievement. With the investment, China has yielded fruitful results. For example, China has set up the world's largest single-dish radio telescope, the 500 meters aperture spherical radio telescope FAST. There's always funny names like FAST, F-A-S-T, in Xinzhou province, Xinzhou. It has detected over 740 pulsars since October 2017. Chinese scientists were the first in the world to develop an artificial method of synthesizing starch from carbon dioxide, CO2. Starch, I don't know what starch is. He added that those questions should be found from shortcomings, and that scientists should have a sense of honor for being able to find answers for scientific questions, discover scientific problems, form law of science, and have their own unique opinions. China's R&D manpower is projected to exceed 6 billion man-years in 2022, staying at the top globally, said most. Manpower is projected to exceed 6 million. I didn't get this. Exceed 6 million man year in 2022. But 2022 is already past. Well, I will keep reading CGTN and then I will see what happens with China.